Hello and welcome to Courageous Conversations about Sex, Pleasure and Intimacy with me, Sarah Rose Bright. Courageous Conversations is a place where I'm going to be talking about sex, pleasure and intimacy, a place or a subject that can be often uncomfortable and awkward for people for many different reasons. It's a topic that can take courage. I'm going to share with you today a little bit about why this topic can be challenging to speak about and some steps that you might take if this is you. So please do stay tuned. So first of all, a little bit about why I'm here talking about this topic. I'm a sex and pleasure and intimacy coach, and I have been for over a decade now. And in my years of working with clients, I have had the honor and the privilege to hear so many people talk about sex, pleasure, and intimacy. And often I am the first person that they've truly and honestly and openly spoken about this subject with. So I have some great insights and experiences to share with you. And also, I got into this work for myself because sex was a place that terrified me and I couldn't talk about it. I never imagined I'd be here today talking to you about this topic. So let me start by sharing 3 reasons why this topic can be so awkward and uncomfortable for people. First of all, and there's many other reasons, but these are some of the common reasons that I see. First of all, we simply just don't talk about it. We don't talk about it in our families. We might talk about it in school, but in very narrow terms. It's more like about the biology of it, and even that's super limited. And then if we're not talking about it, or if conversations are around it about it are uncomfortable, I mean, so many people, how many of you have had experiences where, for example, there's something sexy on the telly and you felt a parent just visibly get uncomfortable or even walk out the room or make some comment. So we've all had different experiences, most of us have, we've picked up the message that there's something not okay about this subject, there's something wrong about it. And so we just don't talk about it. And also, we don't often have a language to talk about it. I work with many adults who don't have a name that they feel comfortable in terms of their own genitals. Or I've worked with adults that just, they know what they don't want, but don't know what they do want. So they just don't talk about it. Or if they talk about it, it may be triggering or so uncomfortable that they just don't go there. There can be many different reasons we just don't talk about it. Secondly, we simply have no good education in this subject at all. And because we don't have any good education, we pick up myths about how sex and pleasure and intimacy should be that aren't actually true. So, for example, we see sex in the movies or porn that always finishes in some sort of penetration and some sort of climax. And so we think that's how sex should look. And that's just one way of experiencing sex, not the only way. And so we pick up these myths. So many people I work with have a list of things that they believe is true that actually isn't true, that's affecting how they enjoy sex and pleasure. And then if we're not enjoying it, we think there's something wrong with us, but actually it's not the case at all. So many of the people that I work with, the challenges that they're experiencing is down to one thing, and that's one big thing, that's a lack of education. The third reason that I've just sort of spoken about briefly is that we worry that there is something wrong with us, that if I'm struggling to enjoy sex, if I've got a sexual problem, there must be something wrong with me. And so the fear is that that put a lot of fear, shame and guilt. So we don't talk about it. We don't want to let our lovers or partners know about these things in case they have judgments or opinions about us. So we just keep silent. You know, so many people I've worked with have taken years to come and see me. People will say, I've been looking at your website for 3 years before I got the courage to make contact with you. And so even contacting somebody like me, people's fear is that I'll say, yes, there is something wrong with you, which I, one, never would, and two, never would, because it's never true. There isn't anything wrong with you. We're all, if you've got problems or challenges in this area, there's many different reasons that this is to do with, not you. So I hope this has given you some insight into why it can be uncomfortable and awkward to talk about sex, pleasure, and intimacy. There's many more different reasons, but I just wanted to give you some of the key reasons that I see regularly. So if talking about sex, pleasure, and intimacy is uncomfortable for you, just to also know that you are not alone. And so how do you shift from this? How do you move forward? So it might be that you find a trusted friend that you can risk sharing with. It does take courage. Or you brave having a conversation with a partner. And that conversation might be, things aren't going great. I don't know what we're going to do or what I'm going to do, but I'd love to try. I want to try. Can we find a way? That can be, you know, so I'll make a video on this, just on this subject, because it's a big conversation. So taking that step to talk to a partner, talk to a lover, talk to a trusted friend, or also reaching out to a professional like myself, because when you work with somebody who can support you in this area of your life, I promise you, you'll get there much easier, and it will be much more fun working with somebody like myself who can help you to bring the pleasure and lightness back to this area, which maybe you've never had or you've lost along the way. When clients approach me, they often feel so nervous and uncomfortable. They might be shaking, and they are often so surprised at how quickly this shifts. And I say to people, it's often the biggest and first, the most courageous step is making contact with somebody like me. I know it was when it was my turn, and when I had to make that first step out, that fear was immense. And regularly clients share with me they can't believe how quickly things have shifted. And often that shift starts just through the conversation, having open and honest conversations about what's bothering you, what's worrying you, what feels awkward, what feels uncomfortable. And finding out that a lot of it is because it's been going round and round in your mind on your own for weeks and months, if not years. And then when you start to understand why it's uncomfortable and challenging, you can have more compassion for yourself and start to see the potential. And, you know, regularly clients say one of the first things that they leave from a session with me, from that very first session or very first conversation even, is hope. So I hope there's been something in this video for you. I'm going to be making more of these courageous conversation videos. So if you've enjoyed this, please like, please share, please comment on what's been helpful. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. And you can also see a link in the description below where you can sign up to my newsletter to receive a free two-part video series on the one thing that will change your sex life. So thank you so much for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.